Hey, what's up guys? My name is CJ or Me Plus Pi, and welcome back to another video about the Gauntlet. Today we finally got our summer sweep up blog for 2026. The last video I posted was about my pitch for what I would like to see changed in the Gauntlet, hoping for more of an ambitious approach and less of a band-aid fix. And I can't say I'm all that surprised because that is not what we got. Instead, we're pretty much just going to be speeding up the prep and keeping the boss the exact same, but I thought I should do a little follow-up and read this blog with you guys and give my thoughts. So yeah, let's do it. The Gauntlet and Corrupted Gauntlet changes. This one's already generated a lot of conversation. Hopefully seeing what's actually on the table might calm things down a little. We'll start this section by saying our aims aren't to drastically speed up the enhanced crystal weapon seed grind, and instead center on reducing variance and smoothing out the prep phase so you can more readily turn your brain off before locking in for your fight against the Hunlift. Let's take a look. So I actually took issue with this paragraph right here. If you go back to my last video, immediately after writing the blog, I had to go and leave a comment on my video, just like leaving a little update. I can't believe they used the words turn your brain off before locking in against Hunlift. They actually want us to turn our brain off when we do Gauntlet prep. It's like they're very self-aware that the content isn't that engaging or good. It's almost like they're smoothing out our brains. I don't know. So let's read the changes. Changes aimed at reducing prep phase variance intensity. Guarantee a random demi-boss spawn at the northeast southwest rooms from the center, meaning 4 demi-bosses with fixed locations, but the specific demi-boss that you encounter will still be random. While we're talking demi-bosses, we'd also like to reduce their maximum attack range from 16 to 10, meaning you're less likely to get jump scared by an off-screen dark beast. Add a guaranteed weapon frame drop from your first low tier NPC kills. I don't love or hate this. I think one of the appeals of Gauntlet initially to me was that it was kind of like dungeoneering, where every time you opened a door there was a chance that something new would be happening. I remember opening door after door not finding the one thing I was ever looking for. So every time they make a change like this, it just kind of feels like we're straying away from what the Gauntlet originally was. Sure, you could say it's better, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but it just feels like a bit of a band-aid fix. What it does do though is offer a really consistent 5-to-1 setup, and it's also very easy to go and get your second one. I think part of the Gauntlet initially was that there's no guarantee of what's behind the next door, and this really just guarantees what is behind that door. Because if you do Gauntlet like I do, I usually do tier 1 prep and then I'll just take whatever 2 weapons I get first. But with this, you can pretty much guarantee a 5-to-1 setup within about 3 or 4 different rooms every time. And then you just gotta find food. So I can't really say I'm a huge fan of this, but I get it and I'm not really that opposed to it. Just kind of whatever, man. Let me jump in the Gauntlet, go kill the Dark Beast and start the Hunlift fight, I guess. Adding a guaranteed weapon frame drop doesn't bother me that much because they already increased the drop rate of it in the past, and they guaranteed it from the medium NPCs as well. Again, it just kind of takes away from the randomness that was Gauntlet, and now it's going to start to really feel like a streamlined prep experience where it's like, okay, where's the first rat? Click the rat, kill the rat, get my frame. Okay, now I'm going to go make my staff and then run down the boss that I know is right in front of me. It's such a hard thing to compare because if we look at the original Gauntlet for all of its randomness and then we compare it to this version of Gauntlet where it's just kind of guaranteed, is it now watered down or is it truly just a better prep experience? I just think it would be cooler if we had a more ambitious solve to the prep phase problem than to just give all these guarantee hoops that people have to jump through before they can go kill the boss. It's just kind of whatever. Instead of grocery shopping, it's going to be more like a checklist every single prep phase. You pretty much know exactly what to expect every time, and it is just smoothing out the prep phase and turning your brain off, like they said. All right, going down to the next section of changes. Changes aimed at decluttering or simplifying prep. They want to make the bark, ore, and linum stackable. I'm happy with this personally. I think this is a good change. I don't love juggling in any content. I don't think it's that big of a skill gap. There is a little bit of planning that goes into dropping stuff less. Dropping stuff out of your inventory and then picking it up again is truly just a time sink in the Gauntlet. There's nothing that interesting going on as you're taking 1 game tick to pick up each item. So I'm okay with this. I really think this is an okay change. Automatically place crystal shards in your inventory rather than having to pick them up. I'm also a fan of the shard magnet. Just like stackable resources, this to me feels like they're trying to cut out the stuff that's just repetitive time-taking requirements in prepping. This seems like a logical way to speed up the process of prepping, so I do like this. I am a fan of these 2 things. Reduce variance of the number of crystal shards dropped by enemies, meaning the number of enemies you need to kill should feel more consistent between runs. Cool, yeah. Standardize the stat of the regular, meaning not demi-boss enemies within tiers, so it's not better to kill a wolf over a scorpion, for example. Just to play devil's advocate, I kind of like when enemies have their own little quirks. There's like that small knowledge gap if you really wanted to like master the Gauntlet per se. But yeah, this is kind of whatever. Go ahead. Simplify the number of crystal shards used to create various pieces of equipment so you're not reliant on remembering odd numbers or over reliant on a plugin to keep track. I am actually a fan of this. There will be an adjustment period where we all have to relearn how many shards we need for different stuff, but I am actually a fan of this. And I like that they didn't just make it easier for all tiers, they're actually making it take more for tier 3 in the end. I think this is a fine change. It's already going to be easier to get tier 3 because of stackable resources, auto pickup, and consistent shards, meaning like it's very predictable what you're going to get shard wise as you go. So I think this makes tier 3 prep probably really easy. I haven't done it that many times, to be honest with you, and I imagine after these changes I'll be able to first try it without a problem. Not having to go back to the start and drop your stuff and then later pick it up is already insane. You are going to be just running through the rooms with this crystal shard change. There's no reason to like backtrack after you staff an enemy or anything like that. I mean, they could drop some paddlefish that you might want to go back for, or like an extra teleport shard, but you are really going to just be blitzing through the prep phase with these changes. Prevent weapon frames from dropping if you have a total of 3 weapon frames or crafted weapons. That's kind of funny. That's like a really random thing, but I guess it's also welcomed. And they close off by saying, these changes should make prep feel more reliable, make the quantity of things required easier to remember, and probably speed up for all players of all skill levels so that you can spend more time focusing on the Hunlift fight. Let us know what you make of them, and you can stop yelling at each other now. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised by any of these changes. They're just kind of unambitious, not that interesting, and it does just speed up the prep. I was hoping for a more exciting and engaging Gauntlet where you would still have to prep hundreds of times potentially, but there is that little scratch in your brain that's like, ooh, I'm so close to getting my next permanent unlock or buff or whatever, however they wanted to do it. And I still think the boss fight is such a slug. You enter that boss and you're like waiting for the first 4 cycles before he actually starts doing anything. It's honestly very disappointing how the Hunlift fight is paced. The last 2 phases of his health where the floor starts getting some tricky patterns actually makes the tornado kiting a little bit stressful sometimes. And I think that's how the fight should be almost the entire time. Whenever those nados are coming up, you should be kind of sweating a little bit. That's crunch time. Little topic of conversation that I don't see talked about enough is that we were never polled about Corrupted Gauntlet. They asked us if we wanted the Gauntlet, and then they threw in a hard mode with a cosmetic cape for completing it. But then that hard mode became the only way to get the uniques. Like there's no reason to ever do the regular Gauntlet. And the difficulty mostly just comes from chip damage and HP increase, which if you think about it is largely similar to why people don't like TOA when you scale up the invocation. For me, I've become a very big fan of hard mode Theater of Blood because instead of actually just making all of the bosses drag on for whatever reason, they just add additional mechanics for the player to deal with. And I think almost all of them are really fun changes. It at least makes me engage with the boss more, makes me engage with the content more. Meanwhile, something like challenge mode Chambers of Xeric, Ulm hitting you for like an extra 15 damage. He's just kind of a big asshole. It's not really that much harder. You just got to have more food and it takes longer. And that's how Corrupted Hunlift is, except it's like the only way to actually get the uniques. And on top of all that, on my last video, somebody reminded me in my comments that the reason they added the Bofa to begin with was actually because they nerfed the blowpipe. So it's almost like the existence of the Bofa and the enhanced crystal weapon seed problem is foundationally a band-aid fix in itself. And they chucked it into the existing piece of content that is the Gauntlet. So in a lot of ways, it feels like we've just been getting band-aid fix after band-aid fix with the Gauntlet, and I would really like to see them try and make the content more enjoyable from the foundation. Sure, all this prep stuff being like more guaranteed and consistent is nice or whatever, and it's gonna pass. Nobody's voting no to any of these changes. It's just kind of a shame that the Gauntlet is how it is, when at the very least it could be a little bit better. So yeah, that's my little reaction to the Gauntlet changes. TLDR, yeah, it's faster, it's not bad, it's just not impressive, and the result is that people will be saving about a minute of prep per run probably. So we're shifting that 60-40 prep and fight to more of a 50-50 prep and fight. It may even be in favor of the fight now. If you're only making tier 1 armor and you're doing 5-1 against Hunlift, I think you're actually fighting the boss more than you are prepping. If you go for 2 weapons and a full inventory of fish, maybe not. But yeah, that's the changes. What do you guys think? Are you guys satisfied? If you guys want me to cover any of the other topics from the Summer Sweep Up blog, drop a comment down below. I can yap sometimes. I've got a lot of skin in the game on Chambers of Xeric, I'll tell you what. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Peace, peace, peace.